Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for staying to the bitter end. We appreciate it. This is going to be the best session you've heard all of the last 3 days, I guarantee it. Yeah, there we go. So, as Brenton said, this is all. We're really entering a world that's going to be all about Gen Z soon, and this is personal for me because I'm a Gen Zer. Actually, no, I'm not. I have two Gen Z kids. I have one born in 2006, one born in 2008, so they're 13 and 15, almost 14 and 16. So the Gen Z generation is 1997 to 2012, so we get that clear. So 15 years, 10 to 25 years of age right now. They are like no other generation that has ever lived. They've never remembered a world without, not just the internet, but without a smartphone. They have never had a world where they didn't need to wonder what the answer to a question was. They can go and find it out immediately. And so with the whole of human knowledge at their fingertips, they are going to be a very different generation. And I'm excited about what this generation can do. And I think if you're in finance right now, your biggest challenge is going to be figuring out how to engage this generation. Because what worked for millennials, what worked for Gen Xers, baby boomers, is just not going to work for Gen Z. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's maybe just kick it off with just really short introductions. Bolan, why don't you go first?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Bolan, founder and CEO of Zogo. We're a gamified financial education app geared towards Gen Z. If any of you use Duolingo here, so it's basically the Duolingo for financial literacy, for next generation financial literacy. Started in my dorm room, and now we are doing great.
Okay, and Bolan is an actual member of Gen Z. He's 23 years old. He said he was like, okay if I shared that. And so he is the higher end, the older end of Gen Z, but he started a company when he was 19, and he's already had his first exit of that. So he's way ahead of the curve. Anyway, Kimberly, why don't you give us a quick intro about what you're doing?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Gartner, and I am so delighted to be here, especially wearing the hat of a Financial Health Network alumni. Worked there for many years. I'm here representing Petal Technologies, the holding company of Petal Card, which is a credit card primarily developed for thin to no-file customers. And I work full-time with Prism Data, the company that is a cash flow underwriting analytics platform.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Bolan, I'd like you really to describe your product. I downloaded it last night for the first time, completed a few modules. I know I'm not the target audience, but I learned some things about HSAs last night that I didn't know, which was good. But why don't you just describe your product? Because I think it's important, and also like how you distribute your product.
Yeah, for sure. I think even before describing the product, just talk about the inspiration, right? So when I was in college, I went to Duke, and we had financial education seminars. They invited banks, like a local bank, came to the school, and then put up like a 2-3 hour long presentations to the students about like credit score, credit cards, and all these kind of things. And I was just sitting there looking around, like everyone's on their phone, texting each other, and like taking pictures, Instagram pictures. Like there's no one paying attention, right, to the bankers. And by the end of the session, the bankers give out a little flyer to everyone. It's like, open a checking account today. You get $20 in your checking account if you open it. And we were just talking among our friends. We're just like, this is so stupid. Like, there's no way we're going to open an account at this bank. And that problem kind of just keep marinating in my head, and seeing my friends struggling with financial literacy, we thought there's got to be a better way of delivering this content to the younger audience, to our generations. So we took inspiration from language learning app Duolingo. We break down these very complicated financial concepts into these super bite-sized, right, 1 to 2 minutes little modules, bite-sized modules. And it's all gamified. And as users complete these modules on the app, they earn a currency called pineapples. So they literally collect pineapples as they learn these modules. and they can redeem their pineapples for rewards, like gift cards, discounts, like so on and so forth. Direct deposit, right? All that kind of stuff. So we're paying Gen Z, paying people to learn about financial literacy, and it works like magic. And our distribution channels are financial institutions. Today we work with close to 250 banks, credit unions, insurance companies, credit card companies, like all over the US. And they kind of give out Zogo as a benefit to their members, to their customers, and rewarding their members for learning about finance. So that's what we do.
And is your demographic really, is it totally Gen Z focused? Or how do you find out, who was using it?
Yeah, that was really funny. When we first launched it, we were like, there's no way adults is gonna ever touch this thing. Like, it's just like, it looks so young and all that kind of stuff. But today, we're very proud that we have 40% of the user base. So we have about 1.3 million total users on there learning financial literacy. 40% of the user base are Gen Z, but the rest, 60%, are 25 plus, like adults out of college and just trying to get a hold of their lives, I guess. And we tailor our content to the age range of the users. So that's why you were learning HSA last night.
I thought that was a little strange, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you're learning that. And if I get on the app, I will learn something different, like maybe student loans or whatever, right? We've actually found the adult engagement to be about the same, if not higher, than the Gen Z, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, to answer your question, it's all kinds of demographics.
That's interesting, because obviously we know that financial literacy is something that is important for everybody, and it goes, financial illiteracy it runs across all age groups.
Yeah.
And so I'm really pleased to hear that there's so many of the older crowd that are on your app. So Kimberly, this with Gen Z, they have often on purpose a thin credit file, but by definition these are all people starting out in life. They've probably never had a loan or even a credit card potentially. So you've worked with Pedal. The Pedal card obviously is very much focused on thin file type consumers. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned about this cohort that you've learned with just doing the data analysis at Prism.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Prism data story really does start with Pedal Card. And so it was founded in 2016. And one of the founders was an immigrant to the US who wasn't able to get credit to be able to rent an apartment when he was getting ready to go to graduate school. And that in many ways sparked the focus of building a credit product for new to credit customers. Today, Pedal Card has a very meaningful percentage of its customers. We haven't announced it publicly, but we have a very meaningful percentage of the customers who are in Gen Z, which isn't surprising. We know that 40% last year of the Pedal Card members were actually denied credit by a big bank before they found their way to Pedal Card. And so for those customers who do not have a traditional credit score, we are able to link their bank account through an aggregator, and with their permission, be able to access that information. And over the last 6 years, Pedal Card has really refined and developed and enhanced the technology to be able to assess that credit risk effectively. So we are able to, through the cash score, and so those solutions are now actually at Prism Data, so that's what we use to sell to other institutions, so that the big banks can be approving those customers as well. So we want to be able to serve them through Pedal Card and be able to enable hundreds of lenders, insurance companies, rental screening companies, anyone who's assessing risk to be able to use that cash score to be able to make those risk decisions. We also know our cardholders go on to be prime credit customers. Within several years, I actually don't remember the time period, within a period of time of having a credit card, their credit score is in the high 600s. So we think we take customers without a credit score and they have prime customers who, when they are ready for a car loan, for a mortgage, for other types of credit to access their dreams, they have that foundation.
Okay, so Bolan, I want to go back and talk about the episode that you described there at Duke with a banker trying to teach you, the basics of finances. You've been in market now for quite a while. What have you learned about financial advice and delivering financial advice so it actually makes a difference? How are you, particularly for the Gen Z, but I think it applies across generations, I think. What is the key to delivering financial advice that people actually, they take away?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and that's really the challenge I faced when I first started Zogo at Duke. And I was very lucky to be at Duke because there was a behavioral scientist professor at Duke called Dan Ariely. I don't know how many of you have heard of him, but he's super he does a lot in the financial wellness space. And I went to him as a student of Duke, and I was like, there's a huge, massive financial literacy problem that I want to solve with this company that I'm building. Like, what do you think I'm missing? Like, why is my product? Because back in the day, I was just writing a bunch of content, all that kind of stuff. He was like, what am I missing? And he was like, the biggest problem with financial literacy isn't a lack of content. There's so many content out there. The biggest problem is getting people to take the first step. The very first step to even read 10 words around financial literacy. Because it's like eating spinach, he said. It's like eating spinach. You don't want to do it, but it's good for you, right? So how do you get people to take that first step became the focus of Zogo for the longest period of time. And what we found, incentive for young people really works, breaking it down into these bite-sized modules so they instantly get value. Also, where instead of long articles or 2 hours on presentations, it's like 1 minute, they learn something from it and learn how important it is to them. But to make financial literacy and make learning about finance very lightweight and fun and just not as intimidating is super important. That's why all these TikTok videos and all these social media things are going so well, even though some of the informations are wrong, but they're going so well because it makes finance very lightweight and it gets people over the hurdles of the first step of even getting started to learn about it. So yeah, biggest lesson learned is what do we do to get people over the hurdle, right? First step.
Right, and I think that TikTok piece is really important because my kids, they have limits, but they would be on TikTok 12 hours a day if we let them. But sometimes because we produce TikTok videos at FinTech Nexus, and I make my kids go and watch them and like them. They have to like everything we produce. So they get a bit of a funky feed in the robot's confused about what actually my kids really want. But the thing is, they do get given up financial advice. Like Charli D'Amelio, for example, the number one, I don't know if she's Instagram or TikTok, whichever one she is, but she's done a whole bunch of financial literacy type work. And so my daughter would come to me, she's 13, and come to me and say, what's this new Charli D'Amelio video? She's talking about finance. And her stuff was actually pretty good. It was lightweight, but not wrong, which is nice. And I think that's a particular piece that I see as being really important. And Kimberly, I know we were chatting backstage. You have kids similar in age to mine, right? So tell us a little bit about your kind of journey in financial literacy with them.
Yeah, well, first I want to comment on the videos. So one of the things we're doing at Petal is being able to produce more and more videos and have that high quality content out there, and also driving conversations on social media around mental health. So we know Gen Z is very open talking about mental health. We know they have had therapy at a greater rate than other generations, and I think it's wonderful they're open and talking about that. And so one of the social posts recently on the Petal Card site was mental health check-in. If you're feeling overwhelmed about your finances, here are some very specific steps you can make. And so again, trying to put that content out there, be relevant, and also bridge that intersection with mental health. I'm gonna get my kids actually going on your app so that they can be, before they get their allowance, they have to complete some lessons. So, it's really interesting having been raised in a generation where we're very careful and frugal. I think my kids are like, if I have to tell me one more time that you didn't have a manicure until your wedding day, as they're spending money at the, getting their nails done, or I don't buy coffee. I can't afford coffee regularly. Oh, I make my own, so they're like, Mom. So trying to keep it relevant and, allow them to use their own values, use their money in the way they want, make their own mistakes while they're in our household, while they're teenagers, so that, my oldest is gonna be off to college next year, and hopefully she can manage the summer money and anything else to be able to be effective. So really grateful for solutions like yours out there in the market.
Thank you.
But also, like, I have 2 kids, and one loves to spend money and one loves to save money. So the technology is not going to change the mentality, right? Of there's going to be some people just love to spend money. So when you're creating content, do you think about the different types of people that, the different personalities that even within Gen Z? How do you kind of create for that?
Asking me?
Yeah, that's you. Oh, sorry.
So here's a really interesting thing. So at Zogo, we did a bunch of tests. As you can know, because it's an app and it's constantly users and stuff, like we do a lot of A/B tests to figure out what people really like. And what we found is, so we tried 2 types of videos, like for the Gen Z, right? One type is like really professional. We hire an actor that put up a green screen behind and did a bunch of like high quality videos. And then the other one is literally one of our employees, like, FaceTiming basically and talking about financial advice. And obviously the FaceTime one performed like so much better, right? And by the way, the production cost was also lower, so it's great for the business. But it's just like, I think Gen Z, one thing that are casual, no matter if they're spenders, like the personality, they want things that are casual, that are authentic. And for example, we work with a lot of financial institutions, right? And we've also, tried things like, trying to push some really, really, targeted advertisement, like things like and we found that just doesn't really resonate as well with Gen Z. And what ended up happening is our financial institution would create educational modules around certain topics, and maybe at the very end talks a little bit about their products, and that has a much better conversion rate than if it's just a blast of advertisement. Right, so it's just, I think authenticity and casualness is the key to like the appetite of what Gen Z wants.
Right. And then what they also don't seem to want as much, Kimberly, are credit cards. It seems like they have been slower to uptake credit cards. I'm curious about what you've learned at Petal about, targeting this younger demographic with a credit card offering.
Yeah, I think, speaking personally, I think that's really can be smart, right?
Yeah.
Not, being able to manage money in that way, but certainly as a credit card company, you're wanting to grow and have new members. And so it's marketing effectively to people. So when they are ready and wanting to have a credit card, they know how to find you. And like I said, 40% of the big banks have already turned down people who come to Petal Card. And so we know people are out there wanting credit at a certain point in their lives and in their financial journeys. So I think it's being available to market, to have the partnership connections so they can find us. And again, helping find other ways for companies to be able to use our Prism data products so that wearing my Prism hat, it would be great if that percentage of people who got turned down by big banks go down over time or by other institutions, because we want high quality credit accessible to all.
Right. And so then when talking about banks, the 40% that are turning them down, what are they doing wrong, do you think? What are they, I know there's probably lots of bankers in the audience. What, Kimberly, maybe you could sort of give us a sense about what can they do to really, from a credit perspective, and Bolan, I'm going to ask you the similar question from a different perspective, but what can they do from a credit perspective to really approve more of these young people?
Yeah, I think, the lending institutions are certainly using all of the tools that they have to be able to assess risk. And when you're looking at traditional bureau data, you're missing a really important piece of the puzzle. And so that's where, as we continue to talk about open banking, as consumers have the ability, and we believe should have the right, to be able to access their financial records and share those with whomever they want, there's a lot of power there to be able to use that financial history to be able to establish creditworthiness. And I think that, I would love, one of our visions is that anywhere you can access a FICO score or a Vantage score or get custom bureau attributes, you can also access Cash Score powered by Prism data. You can access the insights, which are our custom attributes based on the transaction data. And so that vision is that every institution can have that holistic picture of people's financial lives and not just look at the bureau data, which might be missing. Someone who's been using debit or cash or whatever, or whatever apps they're using for payments and to repay friends, that they can be able to bring that forward and establish credit at the time they want.
So Bolan, then similar question though. What can banks do to really engage more of this younger generation, and not just from a credit perspective, but from a financial literacy perspective? What are they doing wrong, and what can they do?
Yeah, I think the example I give of what happened on college campus is a great example, right, of what probably not to do as much. I think they still need it because the classroom is still the place where people learn a lot of things. But I think just what I said about communicating authentically and casually, and there's many ways to manifest that, right? To communicate that way. And I know for financial institutions sometimes it's challenging because of the compliance regulations and all of that surrounding it. But if we look at some of the neobanks, pedals, like some of the up and coming financial products, they're doing they're much more casual and authentic in the way they communicate, and it really resonates with younger people.
One of the features we've built that we're really proud of at Pedal Card is Leap. And so when we approve someone who's new to credit, we give them a meaningful credit line, maybe $500. And then if they are making on-time payments, we're very transparent. If you say, if you look at the Leap feature, it tells you exactly by making 6 on-time monthly payments, by maintaining a credit score, so having it not go down, then you can increase the credit line if you would like that. So it's that rewarding those positive behaviors, those behaviors that we want to be seeing. It's if someone's not paying their bill off in full, having that interest calculator so they can understand what the cost is to be able to make those decisions going forward. And those are other ways that kind of building in real time those features that help people new to credit be successful. And so if other institutions aren't doing those things, if they haven't integrated that, if they haven't set up those defaults so that they are helping people set up for success, it would be great to see more and more companies doing that.
I think, what you said was super, one point was transparency, right? Super important for Gen Z.
Yeah.
Like the second the trust is lost, Gen Z will never go back to that institution or whoever they were working with. However, if the trust is formed and Gen Z really like that institution or the relationships, referral is a crazy thing for our generations. Right. Like we mostly get things from hearing from our friends. We very rarely go online and do our own research. We just kind of hear stuff from our friends and just go with it, right? I can think of so many examples of how my friends would get credit card because of the friends group that we're in. We're talking about this particular credit card was so great, or it gives me this benefit, that benefit, and rewards is a big one as well. Rewards is important.
So how important is it for the Gen Z crowd to have another member of their generation be delivering this message? Or I'm just thinking about, do they, if someone's over 35, they just tune it out, or does it really matter?
I think it matters if the Gen Z has a relation. It doesn't matter the age necessarily. It's just like let's say even if the dad or the mom of the Gen Z mentions, actually that might not work. But it's like the friends group where just it's a lot of referral is what makes the purchasing decisions for these generations. Like I can even think for myself, I would, if I want to buy a mattress or whatever, I'm very likely gonna ask around my friends about what they have done, and instead of going online and start digging myself, researching and all that. So I think a lot of times that piece is not fully enabled from the traditional financial institutions versus a newer tech, right? Has refer a friend, embedded into the app, and it's super easy, like Robinhood is a great example. You invite your friends, you earn a free stock. And that's so attractive, and you just kind of keep going. Like every Gen Z, and even for Zogo, about 70% of our user base got on the app through referrals from friends and families. Barely have to spend any marketing dollars to get these people on there, because they're just telling their friends that, oh, if I invite you, I'm gonna earn 1,000 pineapples for doing this. So I think that is just like a thing that a traditional financial institution can definitely tap into.
Right. And what about, I know we're going a little off topic, but what you just told me, it created this idea, influencers. Like if you're a mid-sized community bank, will you just, if you go and hire an influencer, because some of them do work on a per referral fee kind of thing, so there's not as much risk, but is hiring an influencer, I imagine it's a delicate balance, right? Because it could really backfire. But how do you kind of think about working with influencers for this young crowd?
Yeah, I think for traditional financial institution, we've done this partnership now for 250 times, and we've seen this movie again and again and again. A lot of the times, they would hire influencers and create these like really nice TikTok videos or whatever assets, but it's all about open checking account or open savings account, and that very rarely works. Right. However, if you do something like sometimes they would do these influencer campaigns like download Zogo or download this like education thing that we've just partnered with, or download or come to a event that we're hosting. Like that works way better than just pure sales on those influencer campaigns. It just has to be, once again, going back, like authentic, casual, and it's not salesy, right? It's welcoming. It's not just like, hey, I'm selling you this product, and putting an influencer's mask around it still doesn't work. Right.
So Kimberly, what are you finding about this new generation's use of credit, and are they as responsible as previous generations? Like I'm thinking about performance, and you mentioned that credit scores go up that was across the whole database. Do you have any insight into Gen Z?
A great question. I wish I had more expertise in that area. I think I wish some of my pedal card colleagues were here to answer that in more detail. But I know, we see lots of things that we're doing that other institutions are doing to be able to help set people up for success. Now, I know that's a little glass half full, right? There are lots of companies out there that have really predatory products, really bad approaches. And so I think, we certainly worry about those as well. And from an industry perspective, want to continue to do what we can to access high quality products and services. I personally think a lot about what I remember when I started in credit years ago, and people were increasingly charging versus using cash, and that data point that you're likely to spend more at a store if you're using a credit card than if you're paying with cash. And so that's one of the things that I think about, and I'm be curious to know what companies like yours and others do to help people really understand how much they're spending, make sure that they are savings or meeting other goals in certain ways. So I think that's an important challenge as we continue to help with responsible payments.
But you're finding, like, digging into the bank account, that's where you really, that's where the intelligence lies, right? With Pedal is looking at analyzing that bank data.
Right.
So have you found overall that that's as predictive when it comes to credit as credit bureau data more, or is
Absolutely. So what we do at Prism Data is we ingest deposit account data. So an institution can either send it to us directly for their customers, or they can have people opt in and access it through an aggregator. And then practically in real time, we are, once people call our API, we are categorizing that checking account or savings account or prepaid account information into 300 categories. And Pedal Card actually spent the first 2 years of its company's life getting those categories right. We know it's really hard to look at that information, and our data science team is very proud of the accuracy of those categories. So when a charge for Domino's comes in, we know whether that's the Domino's pizza company or if that's the local puzzle shop that someone's buying something. We put those into different categories. And then from there, we drive 3,000 insights about what is happening in people's financial lives. And those insights then create the cash score. And we've been doing back tests with a number of large institutions, fintechs, mortgage lenders, rental companies. And we were on a call where we were presenting the information, and the data science person said, "This is shockingly good." And we were super happy to hear that. And so then, the companies go back and do their analysis, and they share it back with us. And one of the largest banks in the country just looked at it, and they shared where Cash Score performed compared to their own custom analytics based on their custom information, where we performed against Vantage, where we performed against custom bureaus. And we were really pleased to see how well that performed, and the institution was as well. So we have lots of data about how we are outperforming Vantage. We are outperforming custom bureau scores for the credit cards. And so I know our head of data science has said people would laugh at me if they said that they should just use Cash Score to approve. That's not where the market is. Right. But we are really, really confident with its predictiveness for all kinds of underwriting decisions.
Right. Okay, so we're running out of time here. Bolan, I want to just touch on when you onboard a new financial institution, what does that look like? Do you do a custom program for them? Do they how does it work when you've just signed up a new bank?
Yeah, so Zogo is on the App Store. Everyone can download it and try it out. When we partner with a financial institution, we provide a co-branded experience within Zogo. So we would provide the financial institution with a unique access code that are specific to their institution. And when users, when they sign up for Zogo and put in that access code, it will say brought to you by ABC Bank, or everything will be co-branded and the programming and everything is, specific to that institution, right? So we have, all kinds of use case now. We have banks using it for student scholarship programs. So instead of giving gift card reward, the rewards is scholarships, right, to the students. And there's use case for underprivileged students getting pre-approval for credit card by using Zogo, right? After you complete a few modules, the student, even they don't have a credit score, they get pre-approved for a credit solution. And so there's all kinds of ways that institutions are customizing it and tailoring it to their need and their programs. So we also have institutions, they go to school all the time, and they would just give Zogo as a leave behind when they finish the class. They're still doing the classes, but their Zogo is the tool that they leave behind instead of previously just $20 in their checking account. And so it's a very, very flexible tool that can be used many ways. And every day we see new use cases from institutions. NASDAQ is doing something completely different, like teaching people about options trading or teaching people different things. And we're very excited to see what institutions come up with as well, as we partner with more and more.
Okay, so let's close with I want to finish with some practical advice that we can share with the audience. The Gen Z, they're 10 to 25 years old. Half of them are not even an adult yet, but they're all going to be coming into adulthood soon. They're a huge generation, numbers-wise, and they're obviously a huge opportunity for everyone here. So maybe I'll start with you, Kimberly. What's your advice for financial services firms? What do they need to do to meet the needs of this up-and-coming generation?
I think what's really important is to look holistically as you are making underwriting and risk decisions. So certainly look at those credit scores, make decisions within that. And for those customers that you just don't know how to think about from an approval perspective, from credit line increases, those types of things, look at that cash flow data and be able to look holistically at people's financial lives to be able to make the most appropriate decisions for them and expand opportunity for your companies as well.
Bolan?
Yeah, I would say, I know I keep mentioning this again and again, but, got to adapt to the way Gen Z communicate and figuring out how to effectively not have Gen Z be annoyed by the marketing messaging, but feel like that the institution is adding value through the marketing campaign that they're doing. Yeah, and just, I think Gen Z is still very, very young right now, and they might not, they might be totally different 10 years from now, these generations. But at this moment, I think the casualness, the authentic communicate, the transparency are the most important things for us.
Okay, well, we'll have to leave it there. I hope you appreciate the advice we've heard from these experts, and I hope you feel happy that you stayed to the very end. So thank you very much.